Have you ever noticed how some men seem to repel women instantly, no matter how good-looking, successful, or charming they are? It's not luck, and it's not just about looks. There's one invisible factor, one subtle energy and behavioral pattern that kills attraction before a word is even spoken. Most men never realize it, yet women pick up on it subconsciously within seconds. And once it's there, it's almost impossible to overcome. Here's the brutal truth. Women are wired to detect confidence, value, and emotional stability in men. When a man broadcasts insecurity, neediness, or desperation, it's like a flashing warning signal. She doesn't consciously think he's insecure, but her subconscious perceives instability and loss of value. That's why over-explaining, chasing attention, or overcompensating is instantly unattractive. Even small behavioral cues, like fidgeting, overtalking, or seeking validation, send the wrong signals. Another factor is energy misalignment. Attraction is generated subconsciously by subtle energy signals, presence, tone, posture, and emotional consistency. Men who appear reactive, anxious, or emotionally dependent disrupt that flow. Women sense it instantly, and their brain starts to categorize him as safe but boring or unstable and unworthy, rather than someone they desire. In dating, perception is everything, and subconscious perception is faster than conscious thought. Most men overestimate the importance of words, jokes, or effort. Women aren't analyzing your personality, they're feeling your energy. When men try to impress through explanation or effort, they inadvertently communicate low value. The very behaviors they think will attract women often have the opposite effect. Conversely, a man who maintains calm, grounded energy, projects self-assuredness, and respects his own boundaries triggers curiosity, attention, and desire without saying a word. By the end of this video, you'll understand the invisible behaviors that make men instantly unattractive, why women respond subconsciously, and how to correct these patterns to become magnetic naturally. This isn't about tricks. It's about understanding female psychology and mastering your own energy so that attraction becomes automatic, effortless, and undeniable. The first behavior that instantly kills attraction is neediness, disguised as effort. Most men believe that showing interest through constant texts, over-explaining, or trying to prove themselves will make a woman like them. The truth? It has the opposite effect. Neediness communicates insecurity and emotional dependence, two traits that subconsciously trigger avoidance in women. She doesn't consciously judge you, she feels your energy. When a man chases, over-explains, or overcompensates, she feels instability and low value, and her attraction fades before the conversation even starts. The second behavior is reactivity to uncertainty. Women naturally test emotional boundaries in early dating. Delayed replies, ambiguous messages, subtle pull-away behaviors. Most men interpret these signals as rejection or failure and respond with panic, frustration, or overcompensation. This reactive energy signals a lack of emotional control, making men instantly less attractive. Attraction isn't built on control or analysis. It's built on consistent presence and calm confidence, which reassure her subconscious that you are stable, secure, and worth pursuing. Another subtle but deadly factor is lack of boundaries. Men who constantly adjust their behavior, agree with everything she says, or sacrifice their own needs to avoid conflict broadcast low value. Women unconsciously perceive boundaries as strength. Without them, you appear pliable, unassertive, and easily replaceable. High-value men maintain their boundaries and priorities while engaging playfully and respectfully. That combination communicates independence, self-respect, and confidence, qualities that instantly attract rather than repel. Energy inconsistency is also a major factor. Women respond first to energy, tone, and presence, not logic or words. Men who fluctuate between anxiety, excitement, and over-enthusiasm create confusion and tension subconsciously. Even minor micro-behaviors like fidgeting, rushed gestures, or fluctuating voice tone signal instability. Women detect these cues immediately and categorize the man as unsafe for attraction. The patterns that make men unattractive are almost always subtle, invisible, and subconscious, but they have enormous impact. Neediness, reactivity, boundary absence, and energy inconsistency are silent killers of desire. Most men are unaware they are doing these things because they focus on surface-level behaviors instead of underlying energy. Once you recognize these patterns, you can begin shifting your energy, presence, and emotional control to reverse them, creating attraction naturally. If you've been struggling with attraction, the problem isn't surface level, it's the energy you project. The first strategy to reverse unattractive patterns is rooted presence. Stand, sit, and move as if your attention and energy are fully anchored in the moment. Avoid fidgeting, over-gesturing, or constantly checking your phone. Presence communicates calm confidence and stability subconsciously, which women detect immediately. When your energy is grounded, anxious micro-behaviors vanish and attraction begins to emerge naturally. The second strategy is emotional regulation in real time. Overthinking, reacting to small ambiguities, or showing frustration signals insecurity. Every micro-expression, from a slight eye roll to a subtle sigh, communicates volatility. Train yourself to pause, breathe, and maintain consistent energy before responding. Even neutral situations, like delayed texts or ambiguous signals, become opportunities to project calm, measured presence. Emotional control is magnetic because it signals high value without a word. Value-aligned detachment is another critical technique. Stop obsessing over outcomes or trying to win her attention. Desire responds to independence, not pressure. When you focus on your life, goals, and social presence instead of chasing validation, your energy automatically communicates value. Women subconsciously feel freedom around you, and that freedom creates magnetic tension. You stop pushing, and attraction starts to pull. Another powerful strategy is intentional scarcity and intrigue. Make yourself interesting without trying to impress. Balance availability with autonomy. Don't overtext or over-explain. Allow space for curiosity and desire to grow. The contrast between your presence and independence sparks subconscious engagement. Predictability kills attraction. Controlled, mysterious energy sustains it. Finally, micro-expressions and subtle confidence signals amplify all these strategies. Small gestures like controlled eye contact, calm tone, relaxed posture, and subtle smiles communicate emotional mastery and high value. Women detect these signals at a primal level long before they consciously process your words. Combined with anchored presence, emotional regulation, and value-aligned detachment, these micro-behaviors instantly shift perception from ordinary to magnetic. By applying rooted presence, emotional control, autonomy, intrigue, and micro-signal mastery, men can reverse invisible attraction killers in real time. These aren't tricks. They're subconscious energy recalibrations that create attention, curiosity, and desire naturally. Short-term adjustments are powerful, but lasting attraction comes from consistent energy mastery over time. The first long-term habit is self-sufficiency. High-value men are emotionally and psychologically independent. Their happiness, validation, and identity aren't tied to a woman's attention or approval. This doesn't mean being distant, it means being grounded. Women pick up on independence instantly, even in subtle behaviors, and it communicates stability, reliability, and high value. Over time, this consistency becomes a magnetic signature that draws attention without effort. The second critical habit is purpose-driven focus. Men who invest energy in meaningful goals, personal growth, and social connections are inherently attractive. Your energy signals ambition, discipline, and emotional richness, qualities that women detect at a subconscious level. When your life feels full, women feel curiosity, intrigue, and desire because your presence communicates significance. Over-investing in texts, minor signals, or chasing outcomes becomes unnecessary because attraction flows naturally from your energy, not your effort. Emotional calibration is another long-term pillar. Mastering your internal emotional state ensures that you respond to challenges, ambiguities, and minor rejections without panic. This includes regulating micro-expressions, tone, and posture consistently. Women subconsciously respond to emotional stability, When you integrate emotional calibration into your daily life, overreacting becomes rare, and your energy becomes a magnet for attention, connection, and desire. Next, boundary mastery reinforces attraction. High-value men clearly define what they will accept, how they engage, and how they allocate attention. Boundaries aren't walls, they are signals of self-respect. When consistently applied, they communicate independence and autonomy, which subconsciously sparks desire. Women are drawn to men who maintain standards without aggression or over-explanation. Finally, cultivate curiosity and playfulness as lifestyle traits. Attraction thrives on subtle tension, intrigue, and emotional contrast. Men who remain playful, curious, and exploratory in interactions maintain fascination and engagement. Women respond to energy patterns that balance stability and excitement. By integrating self-sufficiency, purpose, emotional calibration, boundaries, and curiosity, men create a subconscious aura of value that makes them instantly attractive and consistently magnetic. Here's the truth most men never fully realize. Attraction isn't about what you say, what you do, or how hard you try. Women respond first and foremost to energy, presence, and emotional mastery. If you project neediness, overinvestment, or reactive instability, you become instantly unattractive, regardless of looks, humor, or status. Conversely, when you cultivate self-sufficiency, emotional regulation, purpose, and subtle confidence, attraction becomes automatic, effortless, and subconscious. Magnetism is a pattern, not a single action. Anchored presence communicates stability. Emotional regulation signals resilience. Boundaries convey value. Playfulness and curiosity create intrigue. Purpose-driven focus communicates significance. Each element compounds the others, creating an invisible architecture of attraction that women feel instinctively. It's subtle, but it works on a primal level. Overthinking signals, trying too hard, or chasing attention disrupts that architecture immediately. The moment your energy wavers, your perceived value drops. The ultimate shift is energy mastery over effort. Stop chasing, overanalyzing, or seeking validation. Start existing with grounded presence, controlled emotion, and purpose-driven autonomy. Women respond to stability, not desperation. They feel it before they even register a word. This isn't manipulation, it's self-mastery. Attraction is no longer something you have to earn with effort. It becomes the natural byproduct of your energy, presence, and mindset. Now here's a personal reflection for you. If your mastery of emotional control, anchored presence, purpose, boundaries, and subtle confidence multiplied by your consistency equals your magnetism score today, what number would you give yourself? Be honest and write it in the comments. This is your mirror to see where you are and where growth is possible. If this video opened your eyes, like it, subscribe for more insights most men never hear, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this. Remember, attraction isn't a trick, a line, or a flashy gesture. It's energy, presence, and emotional mastery. Master your energy, maintain your presence, and women will notice naturally. Your power is invisible, but it determines everything.